Hey, how you guys doing? Michael X. So the IS-7 Russian heavy tank. Now, it's been about 2 years, maybe 2 years and a couple months, where this vehicle has been changed. It's been balanced out, so it's not like terrible anymore. But if you watch my old review, you're gonna get the wrong impression of this tank because the stats have changed. So I need to do um, you know, a review of this, a re-review of the IS-7. Um, yeah, so this will be it. If you guys haven't seen them, we're gonna go ahead and look at the armor. We're gonna look at all the stats. We got some new stats that we can look at now, which is cool. Um, so compared to the old one, it's a much it's just a different vehicle. I think even the ammo racks are slightly smaller. Um, but if you guys want to look at this, it's got 1,050 horsepower, 59.6 forward, 15 in reverse, 15% chance of engine fire. Now it can't actually achieve that, which is part of the balance, but it can do it downhill. So 13.7 reload time, aim time 2.9, much better than it used to be. 0.40 accuracy, accuracy on the move is better. 18 degrees of elevation, 6 to gun depression, pretty good. Just gonna say right now. 28 degrees and 1.3, 400 meters view range with 25 degrees of rotation. Be careful of them light tanks. And of course 720 meters of signal range, and of course the ammunition 250 with AP for 490 alpha, 303 with the APCR for 490, and 68 for the HE that can do a possible 640, which if you guys are playing on console, you guys will know that HE isn't exactly something you want to be dropping a lot of unless you're using it on hull down vehicles. But if you look at the ammo racks, they're much smaller than they used to be, but it still can be ammo racked for sure. Excuse me. All right, so looking at the armor, you guys can see that it's a solid 160, but it's angled very steep, and it has some very trolly places on it. We're gonna go ahead and look at this on a PC mod really quick, and that should help clear up what your effectiveness is. So straight on 250 will pin that bottom plate, so pretty much standard shells, but anything up here is going to require tank destroyer heat. I'm going to say that the APCR off of most tank destroyers can pin the upper hull, but if you have RNG, this thing will bounce everything if you can hide that lower plate. You guys can see that this is a hell of a side scraper. If you guys check right here, there's a couple weak places, but this is all going to require APCR, and most of the time it'll eat heat. But you can get some shots right there where I'm pointing the mouse. So you can see even side on it's got decent armor. So I find that as long as you keep moving in this vehicle, it's a very, very effective flat ground city fighter, and it's relatively fast. All right, so I actually got 3 masteries in the last month, well, since the buff. So I already got my mark on this, so I got this up to about 310 games now. So to give me a good idea of this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that these are going to be team play games, as you guys can see here. We got like a mixed platoon going on here with just some friends. And these are both games here are gonna be crucial contributions, which is just, crazy. Does it say that this tank's overpowered? No. This tank does have good long-range armor. If you can get into a good position with it, it's a very, very hard tank to pin. But it can be defeated. It's not like crazy overpowered. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you guys, on this map right here, going to the castle, you just catch too much damage, going up the one line. So I relatively like to support my teammates over here the best that I can. Seriously. So if you guys check this out, something I tried in this particular game, equipment-wise, is you're not going to need on my old review. I had vents, vertical stabilizer, and enhanced gun laying drive, and I just said, go ahead and don't worry about your DPM. Now, with this one though, you're gonna want, vents, um, gun rammer, and enhanced gun lane drive, and that will be fine. Now, if you're the kind of person that likes to fire on the move a lot, or maybe you wiggle a lot, maybe you move back and forth a ton, um, then definitely go with vertical stabilizer instead, or try both. See which one you like more. I'm the kind of person that likes to stop, let that reticle shrink in, and fire, and I found that that's way more effective for me with my connection. Now, with this tank's durability and the amount of armor that we have on the sides, long range shots really don't do a ton. Seriously, like most of the time they bounce, and sometimes you might get pinned. You do have to be very careful of your ammo rack, but I'm gonna say that I have like 13 to 14 perks on this, so um, if you guys would like a list of that, I have a video actually called um, best perks for heavy tanks, mediums, and I think I did one for light, but the light one does need to be revamped or redone because I've learned a lot more since I made that. And it's the same with this one. If you guys look at my original video, I basically talk about how bad the gun handling is and how this tank needs to be played with specific sets of equipment. So this tank's a very, you can play it very aggressive. Now, if there was 5 tanks over here, I would have just stood over there and tried to bounce stuff. I really thought that E5 shot right there was kind of, I'm going to go ahead and say RNG. And you guys can see that that's what normally happens, is it bounces. Now, I don't recommend giving this angle unless it's another heavy tank. I do have a full repair kit, so it's going to be very difficult for this guy to ammo rack me. So to get this guy out of the game so we can control this hill is going to be very helpful to us. So, yeah. I like to, like I said, we need to have the high ground. We need to be shooting. You guys watch how I play this. I'm playing this in specific positions. Now, I'm not recommending to try and snipe from long range, and I'm not gonna say that you should use APCR only. But I am gonna go ahead and say that the AP shells are much better at long range shots than they are up close, and I don't know why that is. I'm gonna say that I do know why, and that is because APCR loses its durability and penetration at range. But I'm going to go ahead and say that I haven't had any problems with the APCR. They seem to have a higher velocity to me, and they do seem to hit what I'm aiming at a lot more. But I will say on average, I'll miss a good 3 rounds per game, no matter what round I'm using. And you can see that this isn't Stalin round. This is literally, I've got every perk that you need to try and do this. And I really don't care about silver. I mean, I'm up to 40 million. Seriously, I'm up to 40 million silver, and that's just from playing. We're not talking about grinding silver. It's just a couple months worth of playing, and me not really buying anything. I mean, I have most tanks that I would actually that I actually want. So we're only doing 3 pins, and I'm actually realizing that I'm going to need to be doing a lot more damage if I want to get super uni in this. And I am working in communication. Tank destroyers can sit back and get a lot of damage if people are spotting. You guys can see that the right side where our cap is absolutely getting overwhelmed. So the only people that are going to be there to stop it is us. So the idea here for me is to go ahead and get into a crossfire situation using this tank's speed. It's not crazy fast, like I said. It's not super accurate on the move. It's better than it was before, for sure. But here I can get cross shots. And you guys can see I landed one. I didn't even get spotted because of the bush. So, pretty good. It also has really good camouflage, which I really didn't mention. It has 19. That's just like 5 points lower than like a E50M or E50, I think. And you guys can see here, I'm going to go ahead and shoot an APCR round into the dust. Yeah. So yeah, using premium consumables. If you guys aren't aware, when I'm making this video, we have the Smell of Victory 2 and the Tier 10 Silver Boost event, which basically gives you ×2 silver. So I'm able to use, you know, all this equipment and I don't lose a dime, including with the APCR rounds. Is it something that you should do? I could definitely make a lot more silver, but I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm trying to get W in 8. You know, seriously, trying to get that W in 8. And if you guys want to get your stats up, you're going to have to make sure you're pinning vehicles. Now, when this game's going on, it's actually during a certain time of the day where I'm going to say I have a very rough time with my internet. And I was actually very shocked that this this E100 had his back to 2 tanks. And you guys can see that this map's actually turning around. Now, seeing a Chieftain and then that FV over there, the FV, I think is it 5,000? Do not want to get shot by that. I'm going to try and go over here and creep up and try and help help my buddies that are fighting 3 to 4 tanks now. So I'm fast enough to get over there. I don't have light tank speed, but they have to cross they have to cross a water obstacle, and there's a hill that forces them to go all the way to the end to get up. So I should be able to get over here and at least help him. I actually thought this was just going to be like the last stand, you know, the Alamo here. But you guys are going to see that this is going to turn amazing. Now, one of the things I didn't realize in this game is that I'm actually running very low on APCR. I don't normally fire 14 rounds in a game, so if I usually have APCR, I don't usually use them unless I absolutely have to. And you guys can see that I'm going to have to ignore this guy and try and take him out. And he just has a lot more health than I thought. So I'm going to go ahead and use the side scraping ability. And of course, he's over here. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that they have no idea what's going on here. I'm moving back and forth. They don't know what direction I'm going to be in, which gives me an opportunity to take that guy out of the game. Now, I don't realize it, but I have standard shells now. So the APCR at this range will usually pin right through the track and the bottom plate. So I'm actually struggling at this point, and I don't know why, which is because you can't pin this with 250. I remember going, wow, how am I not pinning this guy? And it's because I'm using standard shells. All I need to do is just get alongside of him, and that'll be fine. And of course, I get a shot where it goes through and somehow catches me on fire, which is crazy. And you guys can see that I'm on absolutely no health. And I think about right here, I realize that I don't have, that I don't have any APCR. So I switched to HE. He has such little health that I'm hoping that I can just basically hit him with the HE and kill him. Because Vader is actually on a reload. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually calling out. I'm like, oh my god, you know. So I go ahead and use my HE, I switch back to standard, and now I know that I have no APCRs. So I'm going to go ahead and come back here and try and side scrape this Yagru. Now, getting hull down is probably the best way to do this, seriously. Getting hull down. The Yagru does have difficulty pinning the turret on this. I mean, you can pin it, but it's very, very difficult, and you can see that he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. And so I fire, and of course it's a dirt shot. Like I said, the AP shells for me seem to be better at long range, and I most of the time use APCRs up close, which is kind of, I'm going to say that shot that I just got that was a pin, that was absolute RNG. So we're looking at 4 kills right now. We got another tank here. It's an FV, and I'm just like, I snapshot. Gonna go ahead and say that I'm feeling the RNG right now. Seriously. And I'm gonna tell you, I was absolutely calling for help. Is this the best way to play this vehicle? Using APCR and then switching to AP at the end? No. Like I said, I don't normally fire so many. This is a very big map, which is not really the IS-7's forte, you know, but you can play this on flat ground little mounds, like right here. Very hard to pin. As you can see, I mean, I have no health, and he bounce my upper plate like nothing, and that gives me my 6th kill. So Top Gun, um, we're gonna have a decent damage spread. There's no way I could have done this without the team. So 5,000. You guys can see we got most of those ops. Got a mastery badge. We got crucial contribution. That means that we did more than, I think it's 12 kills for crucial. And you guys can see that it wasn't just me doing good in this. We got 6,000 damage. What is it? Is it Scrubby Bits? So I'm going to go ahead and send him a GG. I actually got confused here. Seriously, I was like, but send him a GG. That was a good game on his part. And I'm going to go ahead and say that I really felt like those tanks were lit up the entire game. And he did deserve that. I think he probably should have got more assistance damage for that. But, and of course my team. You know, my team doing really well there. So here's the next one, which this is a city map. And I kind of wanted to show you guys its long range ability, which is kind of bad. But if you're playing in a city map, this is a really good map, or really good map. It's a really good tank to play. So let's see here. Just checking on some stuff. There we go. Yeah. So another mixed. Well, it's not mixed. I'm actually playing with a lot of my old clan mates, which are still buddies of mine, of course. And I'm also working on another video while we're talking about this. All right. Go ahead and make that video public. Excuse me. All right, so this is either variant of INSC is good for this vehicle. We're very fast. We can get away from the track and not take any side shots because the IS-7 is a very fast vehicle. And I'm going to say that the 113 is actually a much better and faster vehicle when it comes to its gun. But it's lower plate armor. It has medium tank speeds, so it has medium tank armor. So the turret's probably its best, the best thing it has. And go ahead and fire an APCR off in the beginning. Now keep in mind that this is during, you know, this is during the silver event. So anyway, so I've found that the way I have it set up right now seems to work best for me. Without the combat rations, I've found that this tank for me is very difficult to play. You just have to sit out a little bit longer than normal, and you probably don't want to make any like long range shots. It can be very trolly unless you have food on it, but that's just me. As you guys can see, I'm just running absolute max premium, trying to get maximum W and 8. I gotta say that that was purposeful right there. If he would have been able to get behind us, that would have been it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use him as armor, which was my plan, and of course he got away. So I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, use my side armor. Like I said, the side armor on this can be very deceptive. The E5 has a really high penetration of 340 with its heat, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that if you guys watch the way I'm maneuvering my tank here, me and this tier 8 are actually in a really good position. Now I'm trying not to give either one of these guys my ammo rack, so I'm gonna go ahead and ignore the E100, and I see him over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and back up. I do know he fired. I don't want to get hit by him. I'm trying to just keep maneuvering my lower plate. You guys probably don't see it, but I'm actually moving left and right as I was doing that. So now I can take out the C5, and of course HK's there to back me up and come in behind him. So this is some pretty, you know, this guy's game is pretty much over. So I'm going to go ahead and get a track. Any damage done after a track like that is going to give me, you know, the assistance for it. So if he gets killed, I'm still going to get that assistance damage. So I'm going to try and keep him tracked. It ends up pinning. Hey, I'll take it. 6 more APCRs left. And we're at 8 pins. And we're only at, we're just coming up on, what, the 3-minute mark in this game. And this game's almost over. So going to go ahead and try and use the speed of this vehicle. Type 4. So what you guys should get from this vehicle is it has a 250 penetration, which is pretty good for any lower plate. Um, I find that if I'm playing on a laggy, if I'm playing under laggy conditions, that I really can't pin much with those AP rounds unless it's from super long range, um, and purely to save some cash. So as I told you before, I'm doing this to, um, grind my W&8, get my stats higher, and of course, if you can afford it, I mean, what am I gonna do with 40 million silver? So, you know what I mean? Seriously. So, trying to not take any damage and save myself because there are some big tank destroyers over here, and I do not want to get popped by them. I can see that they're on the right side with my map here. I'm gonna go ahead and just try and get across there without taking any shots really fast and get this Scorpion G. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Scorpion G's gun, it's pretty OP. It really is. Yeah, it's a very overpowered. It does not require APCR. You know, like I said, I'm not trying to save money here. I'm trying to do as much damage as possible, as fast as possible. When you're in a platoon, it's very difficult to get a lot of damage unless you are, playing very aggressive like this. We got a lot of teamwork going on here. I'm going to go ahead and try and get a stalling round on that hatch, and you guys can see it hits. That is not normal, and I'm going to say that you can get, amazing, .30 accuracy with a Russian tank, but it's very rare. Sometimes it misses at this range, and you can see right there, I missed. I actually hit the cheek of him instead of hitting him in the front. I always forget that this is the tier 9, and it doesn't really need the APCR. It really doesn't. It only needs standard. Like I said though, when do I normally fire more than 14 rounds? Seriously, when do I fire more than 14 rounds? And that's the real question here. Do you, how many rounds do you fire? Do you really need all this APCR? I'm gonna say that if you're patient, if you're more patient, you can definitely play this tank with its standard shells. Seriously, you just got to be patient. And of course, so that's what, 5? It's not 5 kills. And of course, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot the guy. That's actually the second kill that I could have gotten that guy got. Don't blame him, but it's a mastery. We made 111,000 silver, fire nothing but APCR. Very rare, but fun. And of course, it should be another crucial contribution. Let's check that. Yeah, there we go. 12 enemies killed in a platoon. And you can see that I have, spread out damage. So I guess to wrap up about this vehicle, I'm going to go ahead and say that the IS-7 has become one of my favorite comp tanks, and it's one of my favorite pub tanks. But I am going to go ahead and say that I do prefer to play it in at least a 2 to 3 man platoon. Just my personal preference. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Of course, comment, like, and subscribe. And if you guys would like to see more of this, please let me know why. Have a good one. Later.